Good morning, beautiful. Good afternoon, maybe good morning tomorrow if you're already in Australia. I'm super excited to be here to share with you my training, the 6 secrets my clients all share to happily change their drinking. And I'm so excited to share this because these 6 secrets that my clients all shared had nothing to do with their personalities. It had nothing to do with whether they were introverts or extroverts. It had nothing to do whether they made a certain income or had a certain level of intelligence or had a certain lifestyle. These 6 secrets that my clients all share to happily change their drinking were just patterns of thought and thinking that they adopted. And so I can't wait to share these patterns of thought that they adopted, which are patterns of thought that I also recognize I needed to adopt if I needed to happily change my drinking as well. Now, if you're here today, I love this community. I love Euphoric Alcohol Free because there's so many of us in here either trying to make alcohol a smaller part of our lives, trying to drink less, trying not to drink at all, or living our best lives alcohol free. And I really, really want to be there for anyone who just feels like, ugh, I've been trying for this so hard. I've been trying to make alcohol a smaller part of my life, and it just feels like I keep failing. And I just want to raise my hand right now and tell you that I've been there. I remember what that feels like. I tried so hard to make alcohol a smaller part of my life, and yet I really couldn't figure it out for years. Years, 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 years. Often we hear these success stories and we hear just like this is there now, and we have no idea what really happened for all the progress that this person had to make to really arrive at that point. And so I just want to share with you that you're not behind. If you failed in the past, it's not really called a failure, it's actually a learning opportunity. If you're worried that maybe you're going to feel deprived when you don't drink, or every time you have to try not drink, you do feel deprived, I just want you to share that when we rely on willpower alone, that is what it feels like. I remember going through that so viscerally. I felt so much deprivation, and that didn't make me want to stop drinking. The only thing I looked forward to was the next time I could drink again. And so that doesn't work. Willpower and deprivation do not work. And here we have it too. Big alcohol literally has programmed and brainwashed literally most of society into believing that we need alcohol to have fun. And it is woven into the fabric of our social institutions. And we now feel like we're the odd ones out if we start questioning it, right? You're not the odd one out, right? Alcohol is a toxin and it affects everybody negatively. It has poor effects on every single human body. There's nothing wrong with you for being so intuitive enough to actually recognize those effects and know, you know what? This isn't serving me. In fact, I think that makes you one of the most intuitive people on the planet, not someone who has something wrong with them, right? Most drinkers actually overdrink. Most drinkers wish they drank less or not at all, and not very many are actually doing something about it. So I really applaud you for being here. It's a huge step that you've made to show up for this workshop, to show up for this group, and to really just have a critical eye of awareness and self-love towards this habit and how you could change it so that you can really feel fulfilled and find a more deeper sense of meaning and purpose. And that's really what I love to teach. I don't care about the alcohol. Honestly, I don't care what people drink at the end of the day. It's not about alcohol to me. It's about removing the one thing that doesn't serve you so that you can create this beautiful space to fill with your life what truly gives you a sense of meaning and passion. And trust me, for me, it was not a fermented beverage and a drink. Once I removed that, I was able to find what I truly lit me up, what truly really made me passionate. So my goal with this secrets training, this live share that I'm doing, is really to help you. If you've ever, really been trying to drink less or make alcohol a smaller part of your life, but you just can't seem to hack it. Maybe you go 3 days or 4 days or 6 days or whatever, and alcohol just seems to always come back with a resounding presence. There's no shame or judgment in that. I've been in that roller coaster for years. I really want to help you to be able to see past that and to see what really needs to be looked at in the belief system of your brain before we look at the habit. Maybe too, you've done dry January already. Maybe you've already done things like a break here, a break there. It is so easy. I've worked with so many women now. It's so easy to really just get roped back in. I mean, there's that social pressure we have to drink. It's really made it seem like it's not that big of a deal, like just have one, And so sometimes it's hard to you lose your momentum and you just feel like, oh man, I was doing so well those 6 months before, and now I'm kind of back into drinking, and I just don't have that same motivation to really get back on that horse again. So if you find yourself in either of those camps, if you just haven't found yourself finding a really truly happy, sustainable, alcohol-free lifestyle, this is definitely for you. And maybe you are alcohol-free, but you still feel more negative emotions about it. Like you're not happy. You're still feeling deprived. You're still feeling like the odd one out. You're still feeling like, this isn't like, I feel like I'm missing something. And I really want to address that. If you feel like you're missing something, that's really a core need to look at, and something that I teach my clients to do, to recognize where in their emotional needs they're missing something that really needs to fulfill them in their life. And so here's the thing. I literally have spent the last 3.5 years working with clients. If we have not yet met before, my name is Karolina Jodkowolska. I'm an alcohol-free life coach. I'm certified with This Naked Mind. I also have a certification for general life coaching. And I'm also an author. So maybe you've had a chance to pick up my new book. It's called Euphoric, Ditch Alcohol, and Gain a Happier, More Confident You. It came out this January, and it's just been such a joy to see you reading it, to see and hear from you. Literally, it like brightens up my world to see people reading it, and it's really like my life's gift, I think, to put what I had epiphanies around and how I was able to change my relationship with alcohol in this book. So if you haven't checked it out yet, please do so. It's on sale on Amazon right now. You can get a hardcover, you can get the audio version, you can get Audible and Kindle, all the things, right? But even though I've been working in this field for a while, and I've helped so many women, and I have a book about it, and there's just so much going on, I still remember so viscerally what it was like, because it wasn't really that long ago that I was really stuck in this cycle of wanting to drink less, wanting to not have alcohol, control my desires, wanting to always have these intentions of being a healthier, more mindful person. And I just was struggling. Like, literally, I share this sometimes, but I used to have a spreadsheet, you guys. In the spreadsheet, I literally started it in 2013. I didn't stop drinking until 2018. So it's at least 5 years between 2013 and 2018 that I would track my drinking. And I would literally every single day put how many drinks I had the day before. Now, I was a weekend overdrinker, so I usually didn't drink maybe Monday through Thursday. I used to drink almost every day when I was younger in college, but as I got healthier, I was kind of like, okay, I need to not drink during the week because I have, I literally couldn't handle it, and I need to reserve it for the weekend. So I'd have a few zeros like the first few days, and then it would be, 4, 5, 3, whatever. And whatever the math was, it never added up to the supposed safe drinking level for a woman. I always overdrank. The numbers on my spreadsheet never made the math that I wanted it to make, and I felt so ashamed all the time. There's literally times when I went to a party and I had like a zillion drinks. I don't mean like a rager, I just mean like a dinner party, and I had way too many glasses of wine, and I was so embarrassed to even write the number the next day of how many drinks I had. Like, trying to count and trying to figure it out was just so shameful. I just figure out some number and probably totally lowball it, but that's what I did for 5 years until I figured this out. And so, when I was being really strict with myself and really trying to make rules and really try to moderate, I also let myself down a lot. And so I really felt a lot of shame. I felt a lot of regret. I felt like something was wrong with me. I also felt like I just couldn't trust myself. I made these rules, I made these promises that were literally continually getting broken. And I just felt like, I don't know, like you have no self-control. You just have some kind of personality flaw, like you and alcohol. I don't know. I just didn't believe that I was capable of changing this. Until finally something clicked for me. And literally, I have not had a craving for alcohol. I've not looked at alcohol the same way ever since. I really could care less about drinking. I'd never think about it if it wasn't for what I did for a living. I seriously have no desire to drink. It's seriously like if you've ever been a cigarette smoker, maybe you used to smoke in college or whenever you were younger, and now you look at cigarettes and you're like, gross, right? Like, people couldn't pay you to pick one up. I feel the same way about alcohol. I've completely lost my desires from it. I've just gotten so high and excited on building a life I love and meeting my needs in new ways that alcohol, I just know, cannot compare and only comes with negative side effects. I literally do not have any desire for it. And this is what changing your relationship with alcohol can look like. It doesn't have to be this game of always depriving yourself of the thing you really want. It could actually be changing the level of desire in your brain. Because if you think about it, if you don't desire something, if you don't really want something, if you really not just consciously don't want it, but subconsciously you don't want it either, it stops to even register on the radar. If I go out and I'm going to, let's say, a happy hour with some friends, I'm going to a nice patio to like enjoy the sunset with some drinks, I don't even notice that like people are drinking an alcoholic beverage around me. It's not like something like, ooh, I wish I had that. That thought never crosses my mind. I'm so in the moment. I'm so in love with the mocktail option I might be enjoying that day. Like, alcohol just doesn't really register on my radar anymore. And I'm just so happy to be able to share that because this is what I help my clients do as well. And so what finally clicked for me? I had to uncover the core reasons why I drink. Because until I understood those core reasons, I was not able to actually ask myself if alcohol was meeting the needs that I had. And when I was able to ask myself and actually put it through this like scientific experiment of like, okay, I'm drinking because I want this. Now, is alcohol actually giving me this? It wasn't until I started to see the truth about alcohol. I was able to see the flaws about drinking. And that's when it clicked for my subconscious. That's when my desire started to really go away. Because when I knew at the core that my human needs were not being met through that glass, then it stopped being alluring. I lost my desires. And now here's the thing. What am I talking about? Core human needs, right? Isn't it interesting that you can have a really stressful day at work and or wherever you have a job or a career and managing the household, you have a really stressful day, right? And like the first thing you want to do when you get home is pour a glass of wine, right? So it's like obviously stress is creates the urge. Stress is just like, oh, I don't want to deal with all the stress. I want to numb out. I want to zone out. I just want a glass, right? But now on the converse, isn't it super interesting that you could also have a great day at work? Like you could have an amazing day where you're smashing it and you had just an amazing day. Maybe your boss praised you. Maybe you got a promotion. Maybe just something really good happened that day and you also want to drink, right? So it's not just one reason why we want to drink. We have linked all these core human needs and this desire to it that really makes it a lot more complex than we think it is. So yes, we want to have some relief from stress, but we also want to feel some excitement, some fun with it. Sometimes we want to even feel rebellious with it. Sometimes we want to feel social with it or more confident with it. There's a multitude of reasons why we actually drink. And this is like my life's work, is to really deconstruct those for people so they understand the habit from its core and then really can look at it in a new perspective to be like, is alcohol meeting my need to unwind, or is it actually contributing to more stress in my life? So that's the kind of lens that I work with. And so again, if you consciously want to drink less, but you still subconsciously believe alcohol is meeting these needs, and trust me, all drinkers believe that subconsciously alcohol is meeting their needs, or else they wouldn't drink. They wouldn't be drinkers in the first place. So somewhere deep down, there's this belief that alcohol is bringing you some kind of benefit, some kind of comfort, some kind of relief, right? And I really want to share a little bit about the 6 secrets now that my clients all shared to be able to change these beliefs. Now, again, it's not your fault you have these beliefs. Literally every drinker that grows up in our society will have these beliefs. It's almost inescapable. It's really what we've been programmed to believe about alcohol. It's what's been shown to us in commercials and shows and movies. It's what we grow up around. It's the culture we live in. It's everywhere. So nobody's at fault to believe these things. It's just like unplugging yourself now, unplugging and unlearning certain things so that you can actually discover what really, really brings you the joy and the relaxation and the pleasure you're looking for in life, instead of just resorting to what you've always done or what your parents always did or what your friends always do, And it's obviously not working completely because I hardly ever meet anyone who has a love-love relationship with alcohol. Maybe a love at the very beginning, when you're in college and you're just having fun and you're not really thinking about the consequences. But almost everyone I talk to, not just within this realm of work, but also in my professional world, like when I'm talking to people who write books or who are speakers or something like that, I'm not in the alcohol-free movement anymore. I'm not in that industry. I'm in different industries. And even when I talk to people there, I really have barely ever found anyone who has a love-love relationship with alcohol. There's always a love-hate element to it. So there's certain things we just hate. We hate how we wake up after drinking. We hate the restless sleep. We hate, not abiding by our intentions or the promises we made to ourselves. We hate like maybe not working out that night or not eating well. Like there's so many little things that just aren't very pleasant around it and that aren't just unique to you. They're very unique to most people who drink. All right, so let's get to it. These are the 6 secrets that I found that my clients have shared to happily change their drinking. Now, these 6 secrets have nothing to do with their personalities. They have nothing to do with their intelligence levels. They have nothing to do with their income levels. They have nothing to do with whether they're an introvert or an extrovert. They have nothing to do with their lifestyle. These are patterns of thinking that my clients have applied in order to happily change their drinking. And these are patterns of thinking that I had to apply too. Because like I shared, I spent years struggling and not being able to figure it out until I changed my patterns of thought too, and it all clicked. So the first secret that my clients all shared to happily change their drinking is that they had a growth mindset over a fixed mindset. Now, it was back in the 80s or 90s that a psychologist termed the growth versus a fixed mindset. A growth mindset, or let's start first with a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset is someone who believes that you are basically born with the skills and the talents that you'll have in your lifetime, literally when you're born. It's like genetic. You're never going to get better at anything. If you're good at something, you're not going to ever be better at something else. You can't change. Like if you have a natural talent for the piano, for example, you'll never be able to be a baseball player because your natural talent's for piano. These type of people believe that literally we are born with the kind of skills and talents that we'll ever have. Now, when you look at even something that you think someone would have a natural talent for, most people who professionally play the piano have 10,000 hours of practice under their belt. So yeah, maybe they liked it, or as a child they gravitated to it, but that doesn't mean that their talent comes from something that was born in them. They practiced 10,000 hours. That is years of practice to get to the point where they got to. And so someone with a fixed mindset will just be like, I'm just not good at math, or I'm just not good with this, or I will never get better at this. It's just something like I wasn't born with it, so I'm screwed. Now, someone with a growth mindset sees it differently. Someone with a growth mindset sees that most things you can get better at over time. If you apply practice to it, you can get better at something, even something like singing. So for example, singing we think is definitely like, oh, you either have a singing voice or you don't. But in fact, if you don't practice your singing voice, like it doesn't get better over time. You could lose it, right? You have to practice the singing voice in order to get it better. And many people have spent years and years and years practicing it. Think of even something like ballet dancing, right? Like if you don't practice for 10 to 15 years before, you're not going to ever become a prima ballerina. It's impossible, right? Like you have to learn it all and do the technique and do it over and over and over and over again. So how does this apply to changing your relationship with drinking? A lot of people start and try to take either a break from alcohol, try to drink less, try to just do something different, and they don't drink maybe for 4 days, they drink on the 5th day, and they're just like, I'm a failure. I just suck at this. Like, I just can't do this. I've already had this habit. It's not going to change. It's super hard. It's super, impossible. It's just not going to change. That is the definition of a fixed mindset. So you have to take yourself out of the me in the kind of situation and see yourself from above. Are you approaching changing your relationship with alcohol with a growth mindset or a fixed mindset? A growth mindset says that anything can change. A growth mindset says that anything you practice will get better and better over time. Trust me, it does feel weird the first Friday night you don't drink. It does feel weird the first social occasion you go to. But the more you do it, the more not only do you get used to it, but it becomes your new natural and it becomes something that you just find joy and pleasure in. So that's the difference between a growth and a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset is someone who literally feels doomed and feels like this is never going to change and I'm just stuck, right? It's not true. Anyone can change. Anyone can apply a new way of thinking, a new way of looking. I love to share these 6 secrets because all they are patterns of thought. And a new way of thinking is available to each and every one of us. We can control our thoughts. Yes, some of them are reflex thoughts, some of them are just automatic, but that doesn't mean that we can't intentionally have some thoughts that we intentionally choose. Like I can change, or I'm changing every day, or I'm making progress every single day is really, really key. Number 2, that my clients shared to happily change their drinking is that they understood that it's not just this game of willpower. They actually had to learn about the role of alcohol in their lives and renegotiate it from the standpoint of how it was serving their needs. So they became students. Literally, they became students. Each and one of my clients really did a deep dive into looking at alcohol and the truth about alcohol in their lives. So it wasn't just this matter of habit change, because oftentimes we think about changing your drinking as just this thing we're going to do, this behavior I'm going to do. I'm not going to drink, right? But we don't actually do a deep dive into learning about the behavior. And until you know the truth about alcohol, sometimes these things, like, we just don't get them from doing the habit change alone. Like, you have to become a student in this. And so all of my clients really shared this deep, deep desire to learn not only about alcohol and how it affects them and really kind of change their beliefs around alcohol, but really to do a deep dive into their own self-discovery. Because it's this beautiful thing when you do a deep dive into your self-discovery, you get to know yourself better. And when you know yourself better, you have more epiphanies, you have more insights, you have more wisdom that's literally coming from your intuition telling you what the next right step is. And this kind of work of self-discovery and learning doesn't ever end. Like, we have this huge human need to grow in our lifetimes. And oftentimes we, go through junior high and college and high school and all this stuff, and then we just stop. And adults kind of like plateau on their learning. And we stop taking courses or programs or deepening our education because it's not really the norm in our society. And it often contributes a lot to that feeling of being stuck and having a midlife crisis. We're not progressing, we're not growing, we're not learning. So secret number 2 is my clients all decided to heavily learn about the role of alcohol in their life, in society, and how they relate to it as a person. So they did a lot of self-discovery work, right? they wanted to understand the reasons why they drank. And this is something that I really did too. I literally have lists in my journals of all the reasons why I would drink. And it wasn't just one or two reasons, right? It was all the reasons. I really had to dissect that information. Okay, number 3, the third secret they all shared. So my clients aren't superwomen. They're not these perfect people who just show up and do everything perfectly, right? It is really, really normal when you're trying to change your relationship with alcohol to drink again. It's super normal. In fact, I want to normalize it so much. I cannot stand the word relapse. I think that if you're under a year alcohol free, it is actually the way through is usually to pick up drinking again in some format or some way. And so when my clients did drink again, we didn't even call it a failure. We didn't call it a slip. We didn't call it anything bad. It was just a learning opportunity. A learning opportunity to discover, okay, that's what I did last night. This is what I thought it would do. This is what it actually did. Now I learned something I didn't know before, right? And the thing that was really cool about seeing my clients that were super successful is that they didn't attach judgment to the fact that they drank again. Because think about it, you could decide you're not going to drink, and then you could drink again, and you could just bury your head in shame. You could just be like, oh, I'm such a failure, I'm never going to get this, I feel so crappy, why me? Like, you could really go down that rabbit hole if you wanted to, of just shame and blame and recrimination. One of the worst ways you could possibly ever change a habit is when you're relying on negative emotions to recriminate you and shame you. My clients, what they did instead is that they saw when they drank it as a choice. Like, I chose that last night. Nothing overcame me. It wasn't this craving that I just could not control. It wasn't something else that did it to me. I chose it last night. I was conscious of the choice I made, and I'm now reevaluating it the next morning. I don't know if it was worth the choice, but because I look at it as an adult and I look at it with autonomy, I can choose differently next time. So they don't have judgment towards it. And I remember this happened to me very well too. So when I was in February of my kind of changing my relationship with alcohol 4 years ago, I was kind of off and on at that point. So I didn't drink in January, and I was kind of off and on in February. And there was one point where I went 11 days without alcohol. And then it was a Friday night, and I just really wanted to go out and have some beer with my husband at a pizza parlor. And I didn't make it something wrong about me. I didn't shame myself for that. I just decided to do it. And then the next day I dealt with the repercussions, and I was like, you know what? That wasn't worth it. And as an adult, I just decided differently the next time. Does that make sense? Like, instead of feeling like, oh, life happens to you and you can't control it and there's just these cravings and you just had to drink, my clients all approached it very differently. They took the judgment out of it. There's no judgment. It's perfectly okay to choose to drink if that's what you want, but they did it very consciously. And when they did, they then recognized, okay, is this really what I wanted? 9 times out of 10, it's not, right? 9 times out of 10, it's not actually serving the need we thought it would, right? I really thought that when I drink again, it would make me feel pampered and like I'm having a good time. I didn't have a great time that night. In fact, I only had 2 beers and I picked a little fight with my husband. So I did not have a good time, and I needed that lesson to teach me that. So if my clients do drink again, they do not attach judgment to it. They really see it as a choice that I made, and now I can choose differently from the learning opportunity and the things that I actually discovered deeper about myself because of it. Trust me, like, changing your relationship with alcohol, sometimes we hear the stories of someone just doesn't ever drink again. Sure, that could happen, but it's kind of normal to be a little off and on with it, okay? And it does not mean anything bad about you, and the more self-compassion you can have, the more you can just brush yourself off and be like, okay, that didn't work out last night, but I'm a human, and I'm a human that makes mistakes, and I can move forward. And maybe it wasn't a mistake. Maybe I needed to learn that lesson, you know? Like, really take away the judgment, take away the blame and the recrimination. Okay, we're at 4 now. The 4th secret my client shared together is that they did not rely on willpower to change their drinking habit. So a lot of times we do rely on willpower to change our drinking habit, meaning that we just decide we're not going to drink. And because the secret number 2, they decided that they were going to really learn about why they were drinking and the truth about alcohol, instead of using willpower to deny themselves a drink, what they did instead is they shifted their internal beliefs. So what they did is, instead of make a habit change, they made a mindset change. And so instead of using willpower to deny yourself a drink, imagine if you could just change your beliefs about what you think alcohol is doing for you. And when you change those internal beliefs, I mean, that's when it really becomes easy to say no. That's when it really becomes easy to just not desire it anymore. Now, this isn't something that is just like one and done. This isn't something that happens overnight. This can take time, and it can take practice to apply these new beliefs. So for example, If I think that alcohol makes me more confident, if I think that I need a drink when I go socialize, it might not be the very first time I do go without like drinking at a social event that I believe that, oh, alcohol actually makes me more insecure and I'm more confident without it. Like I might have to try that belief on a few times and really, really work this new skill set. And again, we're in the growth mindset, not the fixed mindset. So this is all practice. This is all getting better over time. So understanding that relying on willpower is literally a finite resource, and that really is key to change your relationship with alcohol, is to change your internal beliefs. And those internal beliefs can take some time to change. I mean, think about it. I drank, people call me young. I don't know if I'm that young. I'm 34, right? I'm going to be 35 soon. I drank for pretty steadily for around 13 years, 14 years. Some people drink for 2 decades. Some people drink for 3 decades. Some people drink for 4 decades. Is it really reasonable to think that you can change your relationship with alcohol in just like a few days when it took decades to form that habit, right? So my clients understand that these shifts can happen and that they can actually make you happily change your drinking, but it doesn't happen overnight. And they're willing to practice and use that growth mindset to continue making progress. And that's what I really love. All right, number 5, the 5th secret that they all shared is my clients were all very resourceful. And how they were resourceful is they understood that if they could change their drinking habit now, they're going to save so much money over the lifetime of their lives, right? Like, yes, this might be an investment into myself today. I might invest into coaching, or I might invest into a program, or I might invest into a book, but I'm really investing in myself. Because here's the thing, we spend money on drinking all the time. And oftentimes it becomes so ingrained in our lifestyle that we don't even see it as something that is a big expense. We might have not consciously actually said, okay, every month I have a budget for alcohol, it's $300, and here it is. We might not see it that way, right? We might actually be like, well, that's just part of my grocery bill, or that's just part of the restaurant tab. You know, we don't really think and decide, this is how much money I'm going to spend on alcohol every month, right? But it happens. It happens. Anyone with a drinking habit knows that it doesn't just come out of thin air for free, right? We have to buy it. And that stuff adds up. Like, yes, it's in your grocery bill, right? It's those bottles of wine, it's those 6-packs, it's whatever you're getting at the grocery. And then it adds up whenever you go to a restaurant, you know? Like, restaurant drinks are not cheap. I can go to a restaurant in my local area here in San Diego, and a cocktail could be like $17, right? It's literally the same price as my entree. Like, it is not cheap to have a drinking habit. And that's if I was gonna only have one drink. You know, imagine a night where you have 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. Imagine when you have all these events that just, you feel like they require drinking, whether it's a cruise, you know? How much money is spent on a cruise because you're drinking on vacation? Or how much money is spent when you're going somewhere like to a concert because you have to get the beers? How much even to a movie theater these days because now they're selling alcohol there too? Like, we don't often recognize how much of our budget actually goes to alcohol. And I love to study this stuff, so I have done the research around it. The average drinker spends $400 a month on alcohol. The average drinker, okay? This is not the heavy drinker. This is the average drinker spends $400 a month on alcohol. And Huffington Post has actually calculated that the yearly expense is anywhere between $3,000 and $7,000. I think 7 plus, so closer to 8. $3,000 to $8,000 a year. Now, what would I do with all that extra money if I, didn't use it on drinking? I could have gone on more vacations. I could have gotten more massages. I could have bought myself clothes that fit better. So many different things that I could have intentionally chosen instead of just this alcohol money that's just kind of being drained out of my account without really thinking about it. And so my clients are extremely resourceful. What they understand is if I make changes to my relationship with alcohol now, I'm actually going to save a lot of money over time. I'm going to save money in the sense that I'm literally not going to be spending on alcohol. So it's immediate savings right there. And even if they invest with a coach or with a program or with a book, they understand that they're going to recoup that money. Because if they can change how they see alcohol and lose their desires for it, they're either going to stop drinking or they're going to drink a lot less. And so the money that would have been spent on alcohol is all of a sudden saved. I love to use this analogy, but when we do personal growth, when we actually do something that really helps us progress and is really, really nourishing for our own growth and helps us take better care of ourselves, help us learn something new, we're investing in ourselves. Like, you are an asset that will never die. Like, you are an asset that will never, go down in depreciation. You are the most important asset of your life. And yet, instead of investing in ourselves, we invest in the alcohol industry. And who wants to do that? Like, really, if you think about it, who wants to invest in this giant $253 billion corporation who's pretty shady and uses like pretty scary tactics to get really young people to drink and has really employed the same tactics that the tobacco industry has used? Like, if you really think about it, is that where you really want your investments to go? And so my clients have all been really resourceful to just see it, to switch the way they think about it. Like, I'm not going to invest in the alcohol industry anymore, or at least a lot less, and instead I'm going to invest in myself. And I think because they see that, they really are resourceful, and they're like, you know what, anything I can do to grow myself and change this habit is going to just create so many dividends over my life. Yes, there's the money savings. So I recently did a few stories on my Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, please go over there. I'm at euphoric.af, and I share things from my life. I share reels. I share all kinds of fun stuff. But I was really asking my audience on Instagram, like, what do you use the money that you save from not drinking on? And people were saying like massages and facials and new clothes and vacations, like all this stuff. I remember I used to think that, like, when I was younger, when I was in my 20s, I was a lot like more frugal and a little bit more broke back then, right? I used to like want this face cream, and the face cream was $30, which in the world of skincare is not very much actually for face cream. But to me, it was like, oh my God, do I really deserve to buy a $30 face cream? Like, how frivolous. I literally thought self-care was really frivolous. I didn't think I deserved to buy a $30 face cream. And so I had this face cream that I really wanted for years, and I kept putting off buying it. But guess what? $30 at a brewery? That was every Friday night, right? $30, $60, whatever it was, at a brewery, at a gastropub, at a winery, at a restaurant, at the grocery store, like that was all normal. That was all acceptable expenses. So I couldn't spend on myself for what I really wanted, but alcohol somehow was okay. When did I decide that? When did we decide that? When did you decide that? So if you switch it around in your head about the money you can save on alcohol, especially by investing in yourself to change your beliefs around it, you're gonna make your money back very, very quickly and then save a lot of money over that lifetime. Maybe to go on the next vacation you want to go to on. Maybe to go to a retreat. Maybe to launch a business you've been wanting to launch, right? There's all of these kinds of possibilities. And that's not all, right? It's not just the actual money savings you get from not drinking. There's so many compounding effects of not drinking. Your skin literally improves. You look 5 years younger. Alcohol breaks down collagen in the skin and really makes it wrinkly and dehydrated. You literally are not very healthy when you're drinking because alcohol slows down your metabolism. It really increases our risk of cancer and heart disease. So when you remove alcohol from your life, you're improving your longevity and your lifespan by at least 10 years. You're really taking care of yourself. You're investing in your health and your growth, in your well-being, instead of just fitting in. So my clients are not just resourceful in the sense that, yes, I'm willing to spend some money here today in order to recoup this huge investment in the future. They understand that it's not just money they're going to get back. They're going to get back their energy, their time, their sleep, their pride, their integrity, their confidence, their happiness. So many incredible benefits. All right, let's go to the last secret though. Secret number 6. My clients all share is that they are so much more excited about what they're gaining instead of what they're losing. So when I work with clients, one of my favorite questions to ask people every single time I see someone is, what are we celebrating today? And it really directs the call in such a beautiful way because my clients know to show up with something that they're really excited about, something that they're celebrating. Maybe it's a win that they had. Maybe they're celebrating the fact that they didn't drink for 30 days or 100 days or something. Maybe it's because they just launched their business or bought a domain name. Maybe it's just something they're super grateful for. Like, you know what? I'm celebrating the fact that I had today off and I just was able to treat myself to a gorgeous walk on the beach, and then I was able to go to this cafe I really like. We're just focusing on what they're gaining. And when you change your relationship with alcohol, it's really easy to be like, it's Friday, I can't drink tonight, poor me, this sucks, right? You can focus on what you're losing, technically, right? To me, I just think of what I'm losing as hangovers and bad sleep. But if you're constantly focused on what you think you're losing, you're gonna miss everything you're gaining. And everything you're gaining is so much bigger. Immediately, physically, you start to feel better. You start to sleep deeper. And so keeping a gratitude list of yeah, I slept pretty well last night. That was cool. Or, you know what? I went to bed last night feeling the full integrity of having brushed my teeth, taken off my makeup, gone to bed, known that everything that happened, I didn't have to wake up the next morning and ask my husband, what movie did we watch last night? Whatever it is, just this pride of knowing that you're taking care of yourself every day. This integrity that builds. And also this confidence. So the confidence, like that's literally in the title of my book, Euphoric Ditch Alcohol and Gain a Happier, More Confident You, is because when you start like really taking care of your Achilles heel and you start really putting boundaries up and just being like, no, I'm not going to allow alcohol to make me feel like shit anymore, that confidence starts to spill over into other areas of your life. You become a stronger person. You become way more empowered, and you literally do get confident to go after things that you never really thought were possible for your life. And I have the most incredible testimonials and transformations from my clients where they've written books, they've launched their own businesses, they've become alcohol-free life coaches. I have one client who's 70 years old, and God bless her soul, not only did she change her relationship with alcohol, she decided to come out of retirement and get certified as an alcohol-free life coach herself. And now she speaks around in her city and in different groups sharing about the freedom of an alcohol-free lifestyle. So anyone who's saying to themselves right now, like, it's too late for me, or I'm too old to change, like, no, like you're not, right? There's always so much time and there's always so much freedom to be had when you just decide to look at things differently. Okay, so I really truly am just so enamored with these 6 secrets because as you've seen, these 6 secrets have nothing to do with your personality, your income, your intelligence, your lifestyle. They're just these new ways of thinking, and anyone can adopt them. Literally today, you can just be like, I'm going to focus on what I'm gaining instead of what I'm losing. I'm going to make a little list to myself of all the things I'm excited about. And even if you're not seeing them yet, even if you're not seeing like the energy come back to you or whatever it is you're looking for, you know that it's coming. You're expectant of it. You have these high desires that you know something is good coming for you, even if you're not feeling your best right now. So it's really important too to not even just get excited about the benefits you're experiencing, but also about the benefits that are going to come your way. Because if you believe they will come your way, they will come your way. And so thank you, Kelly and Amy, for sharing that all of this is so great. Thank you. The old programming runs deep. Yes, we've grown up in a society that glamorizes alcohol. We have to deprogram the brain to think differently. And Amy says, love the idea of not drinking / not investing in the alcohol industry. It is so corrupt. You know, I never like to sound like a conspirationalist theorist, however you say that word. I don't like to sound like that, right? But I have actually met people who used to work in the alcohol industry, and the things that they've shared with me are really shocking. And there's actually been a lot of investigative journalism that has really shown that the alcohol industry is functioning exactly what the tobacco industry did in the 60s, 70s, and 80s to bury all the information about cigarettes being bad for you. So it really is kind of a corrupt industry, but we're not going to go too much deeper into that. You just have to decide for yourself. Like, if it's okay that I have a $30 brewery tab, but it's not okay that I buy a book about changing my relationship with alcohol, why? Like, why did I decide that? Why did I decide that I'm not allowed to have this, but this thing that's not really serving me somehow is okay? We need to shift what we believe is possible for us. So I'm super excited that you've joined me today because these six secrets that my clients all shared, they've done it with me with one-on-one coaching, with my formal program, Become Euphoric. My formal program, Become Euphoric, is 8 weeks long, and it does a really deep dive into changing your beliefs about alcohol. But I've kind of recognized that I think there's a need for something a little lighter, that's something more actionable, something more doable, something that really allows you to get the transformation without having to commit necessarily to such a long time frame. So super, super excited because starting on April 4th, we're launching the first round of Dry Bootcamp. Dry Bootcamp is an experience that's 22 days long. 22 days, right? 3 weeks plus a day. And we're going to challenge each other and cheerlead each other to take a break from alcohol. But more importantly than that, we're going to cheerlead each other and challenge each other to change our internal beliefs around drinking. And so Dry Bootcamp is this fascinating experience that we put together here at Euphoric because not only is it a challenge to not drink, but it's really understanding the core reasons why someone has a drinking habit in the first place, and then recognizing the truth about alcohol in each of those scenarios, and then adopting new tools and new habits to meet that emotional need in a different way. So it's a 3-week challenge, but then it's also a 3-week course that you get on top of that that's helping you with all of these reasons why you like to drink. And the way we divided it is into 3 core reasons, right? So 1, we drink out of the stress cycle, meaning we are go, go, go all day. We're super productive in our society. We have so many responsibilities and we just need to chill the F out when we get home, right? We drink in response to the stress cycle. And so the first week is really going over the stress cycle and why you feel so stressed and how alcohol actually affects that stress. And then we go over, this is super fascinating because I'm always learning more about it myself. There are actually proven ways to move your sympathetic nervous system over to your parasympathetic nervous system. So your sympathetic nervous system is the part of you that's like on and takes action and is fight or flight, right? It's that part of the human. And then the parasympathetic nervous system is the part of you that rests and relaxes and decompresses. And there are really proven ways that are almost even ancient that we've kind of lost as modern humans to really switch over to that. So instead of needing a glass of wine to decompress, you actually find a method that works a lot better for you and that doesn't compound your stress the next day. Week 2, we go over the fun and excitement of drinking. So again, we don't just want to drink because we're stressed. We drink because we're like, I want to do something fun tonight. I want some excitement in my life, right? What does that really mean? It means you're bored. I hate to tell it to you, but you're bored. If you're looking at alcohol as something fun to do or something that's super exciting in your life, it's because deep down you're bored. And I'm not saying that with any judgment. This is where I was. I was so freaking bored with my life. It was the same thing week after week. I had no excitement other than a drink. I didn't have anything going on for myself that really kept me going and really got me high and really challenged me and really stoked me. I can say with full honesty, I get high every single day now, because I've literally designed my life differently to have something challenging and exciting and a goal I'm always progressing to every single day. I feel high every day. I did not feel high every day as a drinker, right? I was always looking for the drink on the weekend to be something that's exciting. So in week 2, we really go over that excitement cycle and how to actually build your life with new ways of giving yourself fun and excitement instead of being bored and resorting to drinking. Or, this is a big one too. I deserve it, right? So we're so good during the week, or we're so good for a period of time. You work out, you do the healthy thing, you go to the gym, you eat the green juice, drink the green juice, and then you're like, I've been so good, I deserve a drink, right? Isn't that so funny how we do that to ourselves? I did that to myself so much. So I deserve it is also a really big part of week 2, where we really deconstruct this idea of alcohol being a treat and being something that pampers you and makes you feel special. And we actually find things to do the same thing, but that are so much more effective and actually make you feel like a worthy, empowered woman. And in week 3, we take this out into your public life. So it's great if you can learn to not drink at home, right? If you're just a Buddhist monk that lived in a monastery in Bhutan. And often the biggest thing, the challenge that comes with it is, what do I do when I have to go out? My friends all expect me to drink. It's part of the social fabric. It's part of the dinner party. So we really take these new skills that you've learned into week 3 and we actually apply them to socializing. So whether you feel social anxiety when you don't have a drink, or you feel like it's just expected of you and you have no idea what to say if you're not going to have a drink, or you just feel like it's the only thing that makes drinking fun or socializing fun is the drinking you get to do, we tackle all of that in week 3. So we really give you a lot of tools and guides to understand, hey, if alcohol makes you feel more confident, then how come this, and this, right? Like you really deconstruct it. Because once I recognized that alcohol actually made me more insecure and not confident, whoa, did a big chunk of my desire go away. Because I was like, this is actually not making me confident. It's making me more insecure over time. And I was able to actually find confidence within with new tools. That's what we do in week 3. Okay, this isn't just like a course that you're doing by yourself though. I made this a highly immersive experience where we're actually doing group coaching the whole time. So throughout the 22 days, we're gonna have 5 live calls. So there's going to be 3 weekly calls each Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific. And those are group coaching calls where you can come with a challenge or a question. We'll have a little theme, a little topic to go over that day, and you really can get support from me. But on top of that, we also will have a happy hour. So in the second week, we're going to have a happy hour meetup, a super casual meetup, where we're just going to come together with our favorite alcohol-free drinks and just chit chat and just have some fun socializing and see that you can actually be a little bit more present and more connected with people when you're not drinking. And then we'll also have a closing celebration call to not only celebrate the progress you've made, but also share next steps so that you really feel you have all autonomy. If you want to just do 22 days off alcohol, that's cool. That's what you can do. But if you want to do more, or if you want to do it different, or if you want to, expand in your alcohol-free lifestyle, you'll have all the options on all the choices of moving forward. So that's 5 live calls for our 22 days together, which is usually like something that makes my programs a lot more expensive because my time is valuable and I just have so much going on with my book and my speaking schedule and stuff like that. But we made this work because I just really want it to be super accessible to as many people as possible and super, super supportive. I've also included some really cool bonuses. So right when you enroll in Dry Bootcamp, you're going to get a curated shopping list. So like understanding that there's just a normal grocery store in your area, not something fancy, not something like health related or drink related, just a normal grocery store in your area, you're gonna get a shopping list of the new ingredients that you're gonna need to really find a new drink that you love. And you don't have to become a mixologist, you don't have to go crazy. I just give you solid 15 ingredients that you would want to try, and I just encourage you to try 3 of them, right? You don't have to buy all 15, but just try these 3 ideas so that you really come prepared with Dry Bootcamp with an alternative, so that you actually find a drink you love. And every day you still get to decompress with a drink. It's just a different drink without ethanol in it. And I share all the ideas that you can find in a typical grocery store. And then we have a craving meditation. So when I remember going through this myself, a craving almost feels like you're gonna burst, right? You're just like, I just need this thing right now. And oftentimes a craving is actually coming from our reflexes. It's very much ingrained in our brain. And my craving meditation, I love it so much because it puts your soul back in charge. You know, that voice that's deeper than you, that heart that you have, that higher self, she knows what to do, right? And in so many ways, in the moment of life, we get caught up in the reflexes of our brain. And this craving meditation is a really good tool to just put on if you're feeling like you're gonna burst and you just have to have a drink. You just put on the craving meditation and you allow yourself to listen to it, and you allow yourself to really sink in the ideas that the meditation is sharing with you. You know, how you're not going to explode, and it's time to take the control room away from the reflexes of your brain and back into your soul. The soul that knows that you are so much bigger than this, that you can do this, that you were made to overcome this, that you really want something so much deeper than ever could be found in a drink. And so that's a really good tool to use then. We also have a private community as we're going through this. So not only do you get the live calls in the boot camp, but we have a Slack community where we're going to have prompts on the daily so that you can really get to know other people and be totally supported. You know, when something hard happens, you can share it there. When something challenging or something fun, something you want to celebrate. Like, I love celebrating people. So we have all these different prompts and channels for you to really feel supported and maybe meet your new alcohol-free bestie in this group. On top of that, I'm going to share with you my new rituals guide, which is really a way to determine how to emotionally self-regulate. Because here's the problem, is that we've learned to use alcohol to emotionally self-regulate, and we don't even know how we're supposed to do it without alcohol. And this guide is actually really based on the core Earth's elements, these ancient soothing practices that we can use today in the modern era to really either decompress our nervous system to actually feel relaxed and calm, or on the opposite, to give ourselves a little bit of excitement and some fun. Because the 2 core human needs out of the 6 of them are actually certainty and uncertainty. So sometimes you need the comfort, sometimes you need the routine, sometimes you need to decompress and really rest and relax. And on the opposite vein, sometimes you just need the uncertainty, the variety. Sometimes you just need to do something really exciting and something really fun. So this rituals guide will actually teach you all these different methods to try. And we're not just going to do this in theory, like everything is going to be implementable. So you're going to have homework where you actually have to apply these things. And maybe you have to try a breathwork session, right? Or maybe you have to try walking and looking at the sunset one night. You're going to actually, everything you learn is going to be actionable and implementable, but super short, right? So like I don't like these long courses where you have all these videos to watch. It's like 5 to 10 minutes at most a day, you know, and then you have some homework to do on the weekend. So you're not watching videos all the time or anything like that. And lastly, how to socialize confidently, how to actually really get the perspective shifts you need to really embrace who you are in your skin and not feel like you need alcohol to have a good time, and also not feel like you have to answer to anyone to the fact that you're not drinking, and how to really become confident and rebellious around that. So who this is for, right? If you're ready to just get the accountability you need to take a 22-day break and really feel supported in this new lens of looking at alcohol, I highly encourage you to join. If you've never taken a break from alcohol before, it's perfect for you. If you've dabbled in breaks before, but really just feel like you've fallen off the horse and you need that motivation, it's perfect for you. And if you're already alcohol free, but it feels a little depriving, it feels like, you know, you haven't found that euphoric feeling yet, it's really good too to learn how to emotionally self-regulate in this program. So you're actually taking care of your needs and really soothing the person, the soul inside, the inner child inside, so that you're really feeling the benefits. Now, most people don't get started with something like this because there's like an upcoming event, right? Like, oh, I have that wedding on April 4th, or oh, I have that, you know, vacation coming up. And the thing is that none of this works when you just practice it in a bubble. Like, it's the point is to practice these skills in the real world. I wish so badly I didn't let all those dumb social events that really didn't matter whether I drank or not at stop me for so long of trying this lifestyle and really putting it on and taking it seriously and committing to it, because they were never worth it. And you know, a lot of people also think that like, it's like maybe it's too expensive for me at this moment. This is why we created Dry Bootcamp. It's to be as accessible as possible. It is really, really low cost. In fact, this entire program is only $159, which is 3 times less than the average drinking habit a month. So it's 3 times less than someone would averagely spend on alcohol in 1 month. And you get so many incredible benefits and such a shift in your perspective to really change your drinking habit. So we really tried hard to make it as accessible, as implementable, as doable as possible so that you don't have all these reasons why it's not going to work out for you. You just are willing to take a leap of faith and try it. Now, I have to just ask, like, if this program just helped you remove your cravings, would it be worth it? If this program made you feel more comfortable in your skin when you socialize without alcohol, would be worth it. If this program helped you discover what needs you weren't meeting for a long time and actually how to take care of yourself and really feel happy on a daily basis, would it be worth it? Now, oftentimes these are the incredible shifts that my clients make in just a really short period of time. 22 days is enough to really change how you live your daily life and your routine and to start to practice something new. And it's not just a habit change, it really is a lifestyle shift where you're like, you know what, maybe I want to incorporate more healthy foods in my life, or maybe I want to really start painting again. Like, it really is this time for you to actually explore a new way of living. And the transformations you can just make in 22 days are incredible. But after that, like, you're not gonna leave. You're gonna be so hungry to keep growing that there's gonna be such an exciting path for you. Maybe to write your next book, maybe to launch a business, maybe to do something you've never done before, something crazy. And that's so cool when I work with women, is that I have such incredible testimonials and client transformations because my clients have found deeper passions and they started going after those. And now they get high every day because of the passion that they pursued in their life, not some fermented beverage, right? And that's exactly what I teach, and that's exactly what I've done too. So I'm just trying to like share all of this information because if you feel called to join, I would love to have you in the program. It's going to be an incredible group and we're going to get so much support and there's so many live interactions. You know, whether you're feeling a little lonely on this journey, it's so normal. When I changed my relationship with alcohol, I was the only person I knew. No one in my friend circle was doing it, none of my family. I was the only person not drinking at that moment. I don't want you to feel like that. I really want you to feel outside of just like a Facebook community that you're really getting people who you're vibing with on a new level. And you know, when I think about it, like, I've heard some incredible, shocking stories, but like, a drinking habit usually just gets worse over time because our body learns to tolerate more alcohol. It's like one day, you know, you're going to lose a parent, or one day something bad is going to happen, and it just gets so easy to drink out of this emotional reliance, out of this emotional dependence. And if it gets to the point, you know, where like you might be considering like rehab or something like that, you know, those programs cost between like $50,000 to $100,000. It's insane. You know, like, this is something, I'm not saying your relationship is going to be solved forever, but a 22-day experience like this where you really get at the core reasons of why you drink could really start to lessen your desires for alcohol. And I want to just make this, again, as accessible as possible and doing it showing up. And the thing is, it's not free, because if it was free, then people wouldn't take it as seriously. They wouldn't actually do the work. So there is a small charge for it, but compared to a drinking habit, which is like $400 a month, you know, it's 3 times less than that. So I just want you to see, like, when you are investing in yourself, you always are getting dividends from your growth and from the possibilities that exist because you did that. And you're actually not even investing in something new, you're just switching the investment, right? You're taking something that would have gone to alcohol and you're putting it within yourself. So just want to leave you with one quick thing, and it's the word decision. The word decision, or the word decide in Latin, actually means to cut off. So when you decide something, you cut off all other options. And, you know, right now, if you decide to join Dry Bootcamp, I want to honor the fact that you are just committing, you're using this momentum, you're using these secrets that you've learned, you're using this excitement that you're building to change your life for the better. And tomorrow you might be like, I don't know about that, I still want to drink, or I don't know, I have that like vacation coming up. Tomorrow you could change your mind. And so I don't want you to fall back into old patterns of thinking. If you've been excited about what you've learned today, if you've been excited about the new ways of thinking or the new possibilities that could open up for you if you really made this change, make a decision. Just make a decision. Take a leap of faith. To decide means to cut off other options, meaning you go to the island and you burn your boats, meaning you have to make the island work. So if you decide to do this program, if you decide to enroll, we're doing it together no matter what. I'm here to support you. Even if you're like, kicking and screaming, we're doing it together, right? We're going to really do it. So if you decide today to join, I'd love to honor that like momentum and that gift you're giving yourself to just go for it. And so today only, if you enroll today, that's March 22nd, the first day of spring, I believe, I'm going to throw in a really special bonus for you. And it's called How to Write a Book Masterclass. So I'm a published author. I love the art of writing and getting a book out into the world. And I have spoken to so many women. And in fact, there's this really cool statistics that shares that 82% of all Americans want to write a book. Now, when you change your relationship with alcohol, all of a sudden you have all of this creativity, all of this time on your hands, all of this mental energy, all of this desire to fulfill these goals and dreams that used to feel like pipe dreams, right? And I want yourself to give yourself the chance to maybe marinate. Maybe that is a book for me. Maybe I have a book inside of me. Maybe I have a memoir or a fiction book or, some kind of guide. Maybe it's an ebook, or maybe I'm actually going to get published by some big publisher. And just because so many women are often asking me how I wrote a book and how I got it out into the world, if you enroll in the course today, you are going to get this How to Write a Book Masterclass for free. I usually charge around $700 for it because it's a really intensive masterclass, and I've literally learned the hard way. I spent $50,000 learning all the things I learned about how to write and launch and publish a book out into the world because I had to just hire people to help me instead of, having something like this at my disposal. The thing is, with writing a book, most people, it's kind of like how do you become an astronaut? Like most people don't know. You can't just ask your parents or your family or your friends. Most people have never done it before. So if you're one of those 82% of Americans who believe that maybe you have a book inside of you, or maybe that's a goal that you've never even articulated, but it's really exciting you, this idea of like, what if it was me? What if I did write a book? What if I did have something come out into this world? Or even something I just shared with my family? I really want to support you in that. So if you enroll in Dry Bootcamp today, March 22nd till midnight tonight, you're going to get this masterclass for free as part of your enrollment. And like I said, it's usually a $700 masterclass. So like I said, bootcamp is $159. There's options to join where you're going to get mocktails delivered to you or my book delivered to you. Those are a little higher priced, but barely. And I think it's just a really low barrier to entry. I think that this is the most accessible thing that you could do. Just commit to the 22 days. Like what do you have to lose, honestly? Like two drinking to bar tabs, right? Like you really have nothing to lose, but you're really betting on yourself. You're not betting on me. You're not betting on this program. You're betting on yourself. You're betting on the fact that if I could just apply a new way of thinking about things, I could really change. And that is literally the concept of all personal growth, is that if we can just shift our thinking, if we can just see things in a different way, we will have different actions and different results because of it. And that's why I love coaching so much, because I help my clients see things in a different way. And when they see something in a different way, they act differently. And when they act differently, they get different results. And that's literally how you create the life you really want, the life you're really dreaming of. So I encourage you to join us today. Like I said, you're going to get that How to Write a Book Masterclass if I see your enrollment come in today. And for anyone who's already joined up to this point, you can also get that masterclass because you joined early. I'm super excited for you. We start April 4th, right? So you can enroll tomorrow or the next week, but I really, really would love to support you and give you this free bonus class as a bonus by joining today. And like I said, the word decision literally means to cut off other options. Just decide today that in April you're going to do this. It's 22 days, like what could it hurt? You might really learn something insightful about yourself. You might really spur a new level of passion or just life fuel to go after what you want. I don't know if it's intimidating to share this or not, but my clients literally have done the most incredible things in their lives. One of my clients quit her corporate job, moved her family to France, and is now having the adventure of a lifetime living there, and she's going to write a memoir about the experience. She says that if she didn't take a break from alcohol and work with me, she would have never done that. She would have just stayed stuck where she was. I mean, imagine what could be possible for you. And maybe it's hard to even wrap your mind around that right now. Like, you're like, what? I could never do that. But the thing is, when you start to make shifts and start to see alcohol differently, it will leverage and change your identity. And your identity will literally change from someone who thinks they have to drink to have fun or to relax or whatever, and you're going to start to see yourself differently. And when you see yourself differently, all these other things can change too. Maybe you're really a morning person. Maybe you really do love to write and have a book inside of you. Maybe you have a business that you could launch, or maybe your business you could scale and grow. Maybe you have some other passion or desire, like to launch an animal sanctuary, or to do professional speaking, or any number of these desires. I think women, we hold back on our desires because one, we believe that it's not what society expects of us, and two, we believe they're not actually possible for us, which is, I think, really actually hurts the world and hurts our own life sparkle. Like, it literally dims our light when we do that. And while this program is helping you change your relationship with alcohol, the whole point is so that you are now unblocked and you now have the confidence to go after what you really want in your life. And that's really what the work I do with my private clients. So I'd love to see you in Dry Bootcamp. If you have any questions about it, just email me. Me or my team will be back to share the answers. We've just about closing in on an hour now, so let me let you go. Thank you so much for joining me live. And if you're catching the replay, I appreciate you so much to tune in to this live masterclass. And I hope whether you joined Dry Bootcamp or not, you learned something new today. You learned something that, like, oh, if I just thought of it this way, or if I just learned a little bit more about this, like, maybe something really radical could change, right? Like, I want to just share with you how stuck I was for years until something finally clicked. And your biggest epiphany literally could be just a day away or 22 days away or whatever it is. So I hope to see you in Dry Bootcamp. All right, I'd love for you to enroll. We're going to include the link below when I turn off the live. You can check it out too if you just go to euphoricaf.com/dry bootcamp, and you'll get an email about it as well. We start April 4th, so we have to close enrollment next week. But I really think that if this is inspiring for you, just make the decision to join today. Just decide, cut off all their options, and you'll get that free bonus masterclass on how to write a book, which you never know might be your next step after you change your relationship with alcohol. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll catch you later.